Hello and welcome to glennzb TV for Monday, the show that puts glennzb up your Periscope. I bring New Zealand to the world and the world to New Zealand. And I'm bringing my office to you this morning because I just need to know what's behind this here. So I was walking past somebody's desk. There's not a heap of people around when I get to work in the morning because it's 4 o'clock. But there are some people, not at this particular desk though. And at this desk, what those are, if you can't tell, the little sachets of butter, of mainland natural New Zealand butter there. And there's 3 of them, which is, that's a reasonable chunk of butter. But they were just sitting there on somebody's desk, and I just wanted to know why. Is it a butter lover who's just been stockpiling those? Should the need arise? Should the apocalypse come and they find themselves caught short and not enough butter? And then I got to talking with Bernadine Oliver Kirby, our newsreader, and we started speculating maybe it was somebody who doesn't like butter but gets given butter when they buy the muffin. And then they just put the butter to one side. And I thought, no, let's dig a little deeper with our theories. Maybe, and this has happened to me in the past, because I like warming up my muffin. Not too hot, but hot enough to melt some butter on it and then have some, oh, that's nice, isn't it? A little treat, a little bit of butter on there. But sometimes, if you get a savoury muffin, like with feta, and then you warm it up, and then if it's got a lot of feta, the feta might sort of start melting through the muffin anyway, and you think, I've got enough melted dairy. Should I get onto some real issues? Let's get onto some real issues. The maths professor, I think he's from Belgium, maybe? Another country. Anyway, let's say he's from another country. I think that's the crux of the issue here, because he has a son with autism, and because of this, he's being sent to a concentration camp or something. I don't. The details are a little bit hazy, but the reason that it caught my interest is because I heard some valued listener feedback to our station off the back of Rachel Smalley talking about this story, asking how special can a maths teacher be? And if they ask that question, they've obviously never had Mr. Menzies for calculus or Mr. Sefton for statistics. I feel a little bit sorry for Mr. Sefton because he was probably a victim of bullying, workplace bullying in a way. I feel like I bullied him. Which is that appropriate for a student to bully a teacher? Perhaps not. But he was an easy target. Mr. Menzies, it was the other way around. He was the bully, definitely. He's the one I boycotted the calculus class because he said something about Sylvester Stallone's mother. And I felt that was inappropriate as a cultivator of young minds to be spreading idle gossip about movie stars' mothers. Big issues in the podcast today. New building blues. Am I just going to have to change that topic to building? What's the cut-off date? I need some feedback. How old does a building have to be before it's not a new building anymore? Seems to be, it's still got that new building smell about it. Unfortunately, sometimes there are some other smells. Anyway, but this picture doesn't really show it accurately, but what happens every Monday morning after you come in, and it's not just after a long weekend, but it's every weekend, you come in and you go to dry your hands, and that's me reflected in the towel, the paper towel dispenser. So don't try to ignore that part and focus on this bit here. That bit there is no paper towels. There's never any hand towels left on a Monday. And so you have to use there's a hand dryer in there. It's an air blade. It's a funny thing. You sort of have to put your hands out like that. But I should have taken a picture of that. That wouldn't have reflected my big shiny head. Anyway, the point is there a way that we can remedy the situation so when I go to the toilet on a Monday, I can still wash my hands and dry my hands with my preferred method, which is the paper towels. Are you a paper towel person or are you an air dryer person? I like a paper towel. And I'm thinking, I'm coming to the show today with some solutions. I'm thinking there are some solutions here. Perhaps 2 paper towel dispensers. Or a larger paper towel dispenser. So that's 2 solutions, just right off the top of my head, right there. This is turning into a very long episode of Glenn ZB TV, but I do have further hand-drying developments, because I had a very nice meal last night at the Coast Eatery. No, the Cove Eatery on the Hibiscus Coast. It's a relatively new place. They didn't have the set menu they talked about on social media, which was... So they started off disappointingly, but then redeemed themselves with some really amazing food. But that's neither here nor there, because I went to the toilet there, and they had an innovation in hand-drying technology I had not seen. It was the air dryer, so not my preferred hand towel situation, but it had an indicator, a drying time indicator, I think it was called, and it had a bunch of LED lights that ticked off, a bit like an electric toothbrush scenario. What I wasn't sure of was that the time that I should be taking to dry my hands, or was it going to just turn off at the end of that time? Either way, I stopped drying my hands. Or was it just going to chop my hands off if I went over the time? That last scenario, probably not likely, but I didn't want to find out. So when it got up to the last one, I took my hands away, and sure enough, they were dry, so I knew what it was talking about, that hand dryer. A lot of hand dryer talk in Glenn ZB TV today. I hope that didn't put you off. Thank you so much. Sometimes we've got to cover off these issues because they're the kind of thing that affect everyday people in everyday situations and everyday places all around the everyday world. Thanks for having me up your Periscope for this very long time. I'm sorry it took so long, and I hope I held on to you to the end. There's 3 people watching at the moment. There were 4, so I didn't hang on. There was 1 person I didn't hang on to there. I know who you are. I'll be coming after you virtually.